All right, and just like that, we're live, just hot out of the gate like the 250 beginner class. This is Stephen Christoph, Gate Drop Productions, here with Grayson Robison, and he is also known as Gravy Photography. And this is our first time trying all the live products. I'm double checking, making sure that all this is working, which I'm
Everything's up
trying
and
to
going
figure out.
now.
And yeah, it is. We are live. So, episode 1 of the 30 plus 2 podcast. Like I said, Stephen here with Grayson. Gonna talk about a whole bunch of stuff, including Anaheim 1. We're not gonna try to do a whole copycat like Mathis on the Pulp MX show. We want to try to give our own opinion on what we saw during all the races and everything going on. First off, Grayson, how are you doing? How are you feeling about this first podcast?
Uh, Honestly, pretty nervous about it. Never done anything like this before, but it's something I've been wanting to do for a while. And after we kind of did that recap show last year for about your races and stuff like that, I was like, you know what, that was fun. I really want to try to push to start and do something. And what a better person to do it with than you? We both have a lot of similarities from just photos and our jobs even too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what better way than just throwing you in the deep end like I tend to do with almost every one of my riders and guests, especially with
Right.
media, where I just throw the camera in front of your face and ask you how you're doing. So, I mean, just like I was quoting the 250 beginner class, I'm sure you've been there before. We just whiskey throttle off the gate
Oh
to the
yeah.
first turn. You never know what's going to happen.
Drop the clutch and forget where your brakes are pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. So, with Anaheim 1, again, all of our opinions here, we haven't been able to. Hopefully, down the road, we will get to interview riders such as Levi Kitchen, Braden Spangle, a couple of our locals. That's what we're going to try to put our own flavor on our own podcast here. We're trying out live, as you can tell, on Restream, and we'll get more cool stuff going on with intros and whatnot. What was your excitement level for Anaheim 1 now that it's gone and we're moving on to San Francisco?
Honestly, this was one of the first years I've been super excited in a long time. I kept up with almost everything last year, and then through the silly season this year, I was like on top of it, watching all the news breaks from everybody, and it got me actually really excited to watch racing on TV. Which sometimes to me, I love the sport and racing, but watching something on TV sometimes just gets a little boring to me, and I was actually really excited to sit down and enjoy the evening, and especially because it starts a little bit earlier for us now too, which I think is kind of cool for the the home viewers. I don't have to stay up until 11 o'clock when I got to work at 4 o'clock the next morning. That kind of stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. So I was pretty excited, and I was overall pretty happy with the entire thing so far.
Yeah, especially with that 5 p.m. start time, it made things
Mm-hmm.
a little easier, especially watch parties. Like I had Michael Miller and Stephanie Miller and Terrace Crutch over,
Mm-hmm.
and it made it perfect because we were able to enjoy our dinner, watch racing, and then for those have an hour or so drive back. I mean, they were
Yep.
able to get home and not be home at like 11 o'clock or midnight with it starting earlier. The
Right.
opening ceremonies, which they're now showing, especially for Anaheim 1, that was kind of a cool experience. They don't usually
That
show
was.
opening ceremonies. They started doing that. Anything catch your attention there when they first started at 4:30?
It was just I don't know, it was cool catching the behind the scenes clips a little bit. Like there was a shot of Jet putting on like his boxer's jacket right before ceremonies and stuff, which I thought was pretty funny. And I'm like, I wonder if they told him to do that or if he that was his idea. I've always wondered those types of things when it comes to the opening ceremonies. But I thought it was cool. It kind of gave it a football, basketball, like big time sport feel with that like pre-show and having Weege and I can't remember what her name is, but like kind of doing a little pre-show thing was pretty cool. So that was really cool to
I
experience.
did like make a joke with Michael with Jet coming down the stairs with the whole
Mm-hmm.
like Boxer's outfit, like I was really wishing the opening song would be like the John Cena bop bop
Yep.
because it really looked like
He
WWE coming
he
down
should have came out with the
with the
belt and everything.
bodyguards and everything. Like
Yep.
it just cracks me up. I'm all like, we need bodyguards for Jet Lawrence because he's coming into the ring about ready to go to war. I just
Right.
up watching.
Yeah, no, I thought that was pretty funny. You don't really see security people walking around with the riders in that stadiums anymore. Like when you actually go and see it in person, you don't see that. So that was pretty funny. I'm like, oh, either they really think he's that big of a deal that they need it, or if this is is this a joke that goes with the boxing jacket? I'm not sure what it is right now.
Right. I was just like waiting for like some like mega fan girls just come like
Yep,
running through the
yep.
stands and just like bear hug like Jet and just
It,
Jet be
it's
like,
gonna
I don't know
happen.
what's going on, but
That
hey, we're here for the fun.
that should be on the bingo card for that moto memes I've seen. Fangirl tackles Jet during opening ceremonies on that now. Since we know that that's going on, that'd be pretty funny.
Speaking of moto memes, that bingo card's getting filled out real quick. When do you
Oh yeah,
think we're gonna have a bingo here? I mean, I said around
I
4 in the Facebook comments, but I mean, by next
I
week, I mean, we might have like the top row filled out if the rain comes in on San Francisco.
right.
And I think there's like one other box that's pretty easy to get filled in real
I
quick.
I'm thinking by three.
By
Three.
round 3, we'll have a
If
bingo.
if if we're not full by the end of two, it's gonna be early in three. It won't even be by the end of the night show.
Yeah. So, what did you think about the gear choices? Let's jump into that
Huh.
topic first.
That was one
Lit
of the things.
kit. What do you think about Christian Craig's Fox onesie? I mean, it was
Nope.
interesting to me. I feel like the onesie, like, I feel like it was a lot more extra steps on putting gear on, in my
Mhm.
opinion. What do you think?
No, I think it's a little ridiculous. Like I understand where they're coming from, and like they're taking ideas from like cyclists and all these kind of things, and we always want to try to get better and lighter gear. But honestly, I don't care how much lighter that stuff would be. Like imagine if you had to go to the bathroom in that real quick. They better put a backdoor flap on that thing like a real onesie if that's what they're gonna do. Because even just like I feel like putting it on with knee braces and stuff like that, it's gonna be extra hard. Like I don't know. It's like putting on a kid's Halloween costume. It looked like to me, like you step in it and pull it over your head. It didn't look cool. I like the idea, but to me, a lot of gear nowadays, it's about how it looks, not about how it functions. Especially for me, somebody not at that level, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and nothing against Fox. Like
No,
I
no,
like the
I wear
innovations and
Fox.
everything. For me, it just felt like it was extra steps. I mean, Paige did make a joke that there was, a hole so you could actually go number 1. So, I mean, it was still there, but I just
Right.
felt like there was so much work. And then my, fat body
Yep.
of being,
Yep.
36 like me, I already struggle with my FXR pants on getting
Yep.
them over the Mobius knee braces. I just could feel like, squeezing a sausage in there. Like,
Right.
I don't
Right.
think it'd work out well for me. But I
No,
mean,
it's
we'll
not for your
see if they
everyday
continue with that
consumer.
innovation. The kit itself, like the colors and whatnot,
Yeah.
looks pretty good for the Husky brand.
Right. It looked good. I like it because it kind of matched that other 50-year anniversary one that like AC and Roxon were wearing. It was just slightly different.
Yeah. What'd you think about Chase Sexton's kit, the Dalmatian / I don't know, cow print? I thought it looked clean on the KTM because white
Mhm.
and orange usually go well together.
Right.
I mean, I'd rep that.
Yeah. I'm not a big orange fan and stuff, so I I don't know if that not quite my style. I'm very I don't know. I like the Fox gear still though. I like the look of it. I'd wear something like that.
Yeah, I'm
Just not
hoping
just
that
not the
they'll
onesie.
bring back the. I don't know if you remember it. It was like 2009. It had the big, huge star on the back of the Fox gear. It's like
Oh
red
yeah.
and
Yep.
black.
Yep.
Dungy repped that a lot.
Yeah, like had polka dots and things on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bring
that
back
was
that wildness to it.
yep. Well, I think they should do that because they brought back, the Carmichael one. Let's bring back a Dungy kit that he wore a lot, and I feel like that was probably one of them.
Yeah, that orange and white Carmichael gear. I don't know if you had the chance to look at
Mhm.
Jaden Smart on the number 4 Cobra
Yep.
Elite 65 rider,
Yep.
but he runs the number 4 as well, and he just made that whole kit just look
Yep.
perfect for Washougal regionals.
Yeah, I saw that, and I saw he was wearing like I think the red one at like the Daytona Amateur Day too, which was pretty cool. It gave me like mini Carmichael vibes back at Daytona because he was on
Maybe all by design.
right the yellow Cobra bringing back the Suzuki look as well too. It's kind of fun.
So with this track layout, the right-handed first turn, only two big crashes out of the 8 attempts going through that corner. It looked like for the most part that the riders kind of were cautious through there, besides Vince Friese just
Mhm.
murdering the whole 450 class. I
Well,
mean,
that's to be expected. You know,
yeah,
it's gonna happen on a right hand turn, and you put Freezy in there. You know, he's gonna cut across, and obviously that's what exactly what happened.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't intentional, as you could
No,
tell. I mean, you did the slow mo, like
mhm,
look at it. He just kind of beelined it to the inside, like he usually does.
right.
He'd be a really good arena cross rider.
That's
Like
where
that would.
honestly he should go.
I mean, I think that'd put even more butts in seats in arena
Mhm.
cross because that's kind of how they roll. And
Yep.
I mean, Hunter really screwed up my fantasy picks there, not qualifying in there.
Yep.
I had him for fifth, and yeah, I really screwed the pooch there on that
Yeah,
one.
I honestly didn't even put Hunter in my top 5 or the wild card because it I knew he was gonna get top 10. I was thinking like maybe a 7th, 8th, or something like that. But I a lot of people that I know I saw were putting him in the top, 4, and I'm like, yeah, he did well in Paris, but this he hasn't been to real Supercross yet, is what I keep seeing. But he's
Yeah,
gonna do
so
well. He's gonna get better, and it's just a matter of time.
I think he'll rebound pretty good
Mhm.
for San Francisco. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he just pulled the start and grabbed the heat race win
He's
and just
gonna
put
be
everything
pissed.
behind his back.
He's gonna be pissed not making a main event like for the first time in how long, besides being injured. Like that's not gonna sit well with a factory rider. Especially with his brother coming out and pretty much dominating the first round again.
I wonder what the feeling in the Honda pits were like. You're sitting there not
Mhm.
qualifying, the jet comes back with the big trophy and everything.
You've got Hunter in the back of the truck listening to some emo music, sad he didn't make it, and Jet's up front blasting some Drake or something like that. It's probably very awkward.
Eh, it is what it is. But yeah, Hunter's a good rider,
But
and I'm sure
no
he'll
doubt.
just, I think the right hand turn really threw off a bunch of riders, not being able to get to the back brake. But like I
Mhm.
said, I mean, 2 out of 8 like attempts,
Right.
like I'm counting the heat races, LCQs,
Mhm.
and the main events, like, it only caused 25% of problems for everyone. So I mean, not that big of a deal.
Yeah, no, for the most part, it was a very successful right-handed night. That's I get excited. That's one of my favorite things to see is a right-handed first turn, just because you know how crazy it can get. Because you can't get that back brake. You're coming in with more front brake than normal. Who's going to go hold it wide open to the end, or who's going to play cautious?
Right.
It's always fun to see because I feel like just an easy left-handed turn, it gets kind of boring watching on TV, especially when they all get through so cleanly and smoothly every time. Which we don't want to see people get hurt, but you want to see some like bar banging and some battling into that first turn. It just makes it more fun and exciting.
What do you think of the innovation of that like new tabletop they had out of the first turn? It kind of looked like a staircase. Like it was really small. Some people are
Mhm.
wheeling on top of it and then stepping off it. I thought that was pretty cool.
I feel like it was really cool. I feel like it's their like new substitution to like Dragon's backs and stuff that are a little bit safer. We want something technical still to watch, and the Dragon's back was super technical, and because nobody could ever really figure out the right way to do that. And I feel like this is a good way to like kind of entertain the same idea as the Dragon's back, but keeping the riders way safer for sure.
Yeah, it made that first turn pretty
Mhm.
entertaining. Like after you go through a lap, some people are going to the inside and like stepping over like the straightaway part
Mhm.
onto the table and then jumping out. And then I think they were tripling out.
Yeah.
And then others would double the outside and then kind of, I don't
Hmm.
know if you want to have this argument of a tabletop being 1 or 2 jumps, but they were like, you could argue it was a quad
Yeah.
triple in or just you jump over and then you double, double, double.
Right. Yeah. No. I feel like the fastest route ended up becoming jumping onto that eventually down the after the first lap and stuff. But no, it was cool to watching something. I love technical racing is one of my favorite things because one person can see like a 3-4-3 or somebody else will 2-2 through it depending on what they think is faster, and just it's just fun watching the progression through the day, especially like now that we get to watch qualifying and stuff too, and see where they're at by the end of the night, the last few minutes of the main event, and see who's really pulling out the biggest technical stuff.
Yeah, it seemed like that was one of the main passing points. Also, the whoop section really
Hmm.
kind
That,
of lined
that was
up for
huge.
great passing, especially back to back
Hmm.
sections. Like I
Hmm.
know Levi made a few moves there, and we'll get to Levi here shortly.
Hmm.
Talk about how his race went, being a Northwest local rider. But yeah,
Right.
it looked like that section really played a big play. I was hoping more of those 180 turns, like on
Hmm.
the starting straight, would like cause a lot of like inside moves and
Yeah.
bar banging, but
It didn't
it
as much
didn't.
as you would have thought.
Yeah, it didn't really do that much. I was expecting someone to just like go right for the apex of the corner after that hip jump, and
Hmm.
no one really did it. It was just kind of, I don't know if, well, it's probably a respect thing of like, I'm
Hmm.
not going to blow these doors off and send them over the berm. But yeah, everyone
Right.
rode pretty respectfully, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Everybody, obviously, besides Freezy. I don't know if you saw the whole Dino incident.
Dino was pissed at his
I
YouTube
I
videos.
don't I don't blame him. Like, look at what he did. He comes in hot for no reason. Like, there's still so much time in the race. Like, you don't need to be cleaning somebody out, and also even taking yourself out of the race completely and like walking off like that. Like, it was weird. But
It was
everybody
definitely
else,
weird. I watched it multiple times, and to me, it didn't look like he hit the ground that hard, but he
mm-mm,
maybe just bent his wrist back a certain way.
right?
I mean, we'll
But
see what happens in round two.
the way he got out of there so quickly, like I felt like I don't know, he was embarrassed. He did something wrong. I don't know. That's the vibe I got from it. Maybe he
Yeah,
did get hurt, but the way he just left his bike there, and Dino's like, "Are you gonna help me move your bike off of my bike?" Just staring at him, and he just walks off like a 3-year-old who got yelled at. Don't get me wrong, I've always liked Freezy, but that one was just weird.
yeah. I mean, like, yeah, I don't have anything against him, but he does keep everything entertaining. I'm just waiting
Mhm.
for another like Weston Pike moment. Like, I thought
Mhm.
Dino is probably just gonna like get on his bike and just like charge
Well,
after him
him
into
and
the
Dino
puddle.
have been having issues since World Supercross, like it's just going to continue through this year. I think we got another like rivalry we can get excited to watch on the track because they're going to just get pissed at each other.
We always have to have like a
Mhm.
villain though, because
Yep.
that's what makes it entertaining. I mean,
Yep.
if you watch any of Burkeen's like not Anaheim, Arena Cross
Mhm.
videos on YouTube, Matt
Yep.
Burkeen, like, dude, they're just kamikazing each
Yep.
other all the time. And that's what makes like, his videos super,
Yeah.
entertaining. It's like, oh man, that dude just
Mhm.
slammed that dude right over the berm, kind of like when Stinky did that to Clayson
Yep.
a year ago. I
Yep.
mean, as much as like we complain about Freezy taking people out and
Mhm.
whatnot, I mean, I think everyone low key's like, oh look, drama.
Right. No, like it's drama for TV, which is awesome for the sport. The writers obviously aren't going to like it because they're just going to get pissed off because they're out there trying to make money and he's out there slamming people. But then also, I look at it from you're out there racing. I've heard a few times, I feel that dirt bikes is kind of a contact sport when it comes to, certain points of a race. Obviously, we don't want to try to hurt the other person, but
No.
if I can clip your front wheel in the last turn before the finish or something, I might do that, but I'm not going to T-bone you.
Yeah, I mean those LCQ finishes, they were actually pretty safe. No
They
one was
were.
going in hard. I was expecting Hunter to really just like go into
Mhm.
Clayson and really push him, but it looked like the angle
Right.
of the corner he just didn't have the opportunity to.
Yeah, I don't think he was quite close enough going into that last turn to really slam him. So yeah, he couldn't get quite up underneath him. But I was actually surprised to see Clayson's Kawasaki actually make it up the face of that finish line jump before the factory bike.
Yeah. So that hip jump around the, what do you
Mhm.
call it, the leaderboard tube, that really
Yeah.
came into play.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it took Star Yamahas down in both the 250 and 450 main event. It
Yep.
looked like just from the television watching on the broadcast, that there was like one rut there that
Mhm.
really kind of like made a groove there, and it looked like both Thrasher and Webb unfortunately hit that,
Yep.
and it caused them to go on a trip of Indonesia there. Looks like Thrasher, according to his
Mhm.
post or whatnot, he's going to be back for San Francisco. But I mean, I
That's
was
gonna be
not
good.
expecting Cooper Webb to be
No.
that feisty this early on the Yamaha. I mean, everyone kind of wrote him off, and he even got downgraded in the Racer
Mhm.
X preview videos from
Mhm.
episode 1 down to episode 2. What do you think of Cooper Webb's ride on the Star Yamaha?
I thought he came out just the way he needed to, with everybody, considering him the underdog now, which we should never think him as an underdog in any way, shape, or form. Supercross champion, multiple championships. He's one of the fastest guys we've had in a while. Like, I didn't write him off. I didn't know what to expect with him going back to Yamaha, which, seems like everybody this year had a problem with the bike they were on, and they're like, oh, I need to look for something different, and whatever it may be. We hear stories of everything, but I don't think he, was expected to come out and be as good. And so that's why I think it gave him a little more motivation to push and run up front. And like, he knows he can, so I think we're going to continue to see him pushing up towards the front. I think that was just a simple mistake that anybody could have made. There was no rhyme or reason as to why he really did that. It might've been a little slick, whatever, but I think this will just motivate him to keep going even harder after being able to prove he can run it back up front on a new team.
How many wins do we think Cooper Webb gets?
That's really tough. I honestly don't know who's going to win each race to each race. I'm going to say 3 to 4.
3 to 4.
3 to 4.
I'm saying maybe 2.
Yeah,
I'm going to just go with 2 because I think we're entering an era, and I don't want to be like almost everyone else, but I mean, Jet, he's not. I mean, this is such a topic we can argue right now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, they're claiming rookie. I mean, he did all of outdoors, won the title, undefeated, and yes, he didn't do a 450 Supercross, but he did Super Motocross. Like, he doesn't ride like a rookie, and he's got kind of, what do you say, half a year down already, like racing against the tough guys besides Tomac. Like, I think he raced every single rider on the gate besides Tomac.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that was kind of up in the air in my head too, was how was he going to be up against Tomac? We already know he can beat the other guys. He's done it in multiple settings now. But I thought, just with the pressure of this just being his first actual full Supercross season, I didn't think he was going to come out and get that first win. I know he's going to do really well, and he's going to be, I think he actually might win the championship. I don't see him going undefeated like a lot of people are talking about, but I think he's going to get the majority of the wins. I feel just he's got the experience. He's ready to lay it on the line, and from what I see, he's one of the smoothest guys, actually, I felt, that was riding A1 this weekend too, and being the fastest too.
Yeah. And I feel a lot of it for Jet, and then once again, it's just our opinions and whatnot.
Right. No, for sure.
I feel like,
and who are we?
He's like very good at timing on the start, just like a Formula One driver. Like, he's got timing to the point, and if he gets off the gate in front of everyone,
he's gone.
I mean, it's sayonara in my opinion, because you've already pretty much done, more than half the work, in my opinion.
Right.
And I think, in order for a lot of the other riders, especially someone like Cooper Webb, like, I feel like you need to start in front of Jet at least to kind of mess with him, or at least get him in the second turn to like kind of like shake him up and be like, hey, I'm going to battle you all the way through. Because I feel like a lot of the races, especially in motocross too, I mean, I should go over the next week and see how many times Jet got the whole shot, because it seemed like he was always up front by the time he got to the finish line.
Yeah, no, if he starts up front, he's pretty much gone. Like, he's smart too, that he knows if he doesn't get the greatest start and pull away, like, he doesn't care about winning by 30 seconds, a minute. He'll take a win, by a half a second if he has to, because he's I don't know, I feel like he's just one of the smarter guys out there. A lot of people are out there to go out there and lap the entire field, and he's just out there and wants to put the laps in for the 20 minutes, and then wherever second place is, he's cool with it. He doesn't care as long as he gets across first. And if that means if he gets to slow it up and play it safe, that's cool. I feel like it's kind of a veteran move a little bit, and he's the youngest guy out there, which is crazy to me.
Right. I know, it makes me feel like, an old fart seeing a 20-year-old go around and just already he's got the Rolls Royce and everything. I mean, good for him because he's really worked
He
hard and
deserves it.
hard
Yeah.
work pays off. So
Yep.
like any of these amateur riders, if they put in the work, I mean, you could be a Levi Kitchen, for
Right.
example, and work your way up. It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, majority of the riders come from, down south, but I mean, we've had Villapoto, we've had Larry Ward in the Northwest. We've had a couple riders really, put in the work,
Mm-hmm.
and Villapoto, I think, being the most successful out of our
Yeah.
Northwest riders out as of right now. I
Right.
mean, put in the work, see what Jet's doing,
Mhm.
and try to copy that, work ethic. And,
Mhm.
one of our amateur riders in the Northwest could possibly
Yep.
get to be a Jet Lawrence in the future.
And he's very charismatic, like he's a character essentially too that the sport kind of needs a little bit too. Like it's kind of like Pastrana when he came out, he was the glory boy at first, and same thing with like Stewart. He was the next big thing and he was balling. He had his 24s on his caddies and things like that too. Like it's cool to have somebody in the sport like that, and it shows that working your ass off like that from a young age can really pay off too.
Yeah. Jason Anderson, he really messed up my fantasy picks. I kind of wrote him off, and here he is back again. Is this a 2022 resurgence of him on the Cowie? He looked like he gelled with the new bike. So
I think it's going to be good for him. He was one of my top 5 I actually put on for my RM fantasy because nobody was talking about him. People were like, "Oh, new bike." Last year he kind of just, floated stagnant and stuff. But I don't know. He's an amazing rider. He's a Supercross champion as well. He can't be written off quite yet. He's still young. He's just quiet. Nobody hears from him.
Yeah, he kind of does I don't know how much like media he posts at this point. He's kind of like Tomac in a way where you don't really know what's going on. And then jumping into Tomac's race, I really put my expectations way too high. I mean, coming back from Achilles and whatnot, and then listening to Steve and Weege and Jason Thomas's recap today. I mean, maybe he's just a little rusty, according to a lot of them. I put him second in my RM fantasy, and it just didn't work out. But if you go look back at the stats, Eli has not really been the best at Anaheim 1 through his career. I mean, even back in 2022 when he won the championship, it didn't work out. He finished, I believe, 6th or 7th, and he's going away with a 9th. I mean, it's not the end, but hopefully a regroup happens at San Francisco. What do you feel about Tomac's race?
Honestly, that's what I was kind of expecting a little bit. I was literally thinking the exact opposite of what a lot of people were saying. I'm like, yeah, he could come in and he could still be just as good as he was when he left off in Denver last year. But the Achilles thing, that's kind of a gnarly injury. Somebody for his age, especially, he's up there, the age-wise for this class now, and he's not no Billy Laninovich or anything like that. But coming back from an injury like that, he's got to probably take it a little bit easier, maybe mentally in his own head, or he's just coming back and coming in under the water like a shark and testing the waters right now, and he's gonna attack after this. We're just going to kind of have to wait to see what happens the next couple of rounds. But I don't see this as him being, written out of the championship battle this time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not worried yet because, like I said, his previous races of Anaheim 1 mishaps are just not on the pace. I mean, more times than not, he's finished actually outside the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last year he came back. He even crashed last year. And he came back and won. So, I mean, there's not that many times because, he had the pants incident back when he was on Cowie and a whole bunch of things just, for some reason goes wrong. I don't know if it's just an early race jitters or whatnot, but I think it'll take another round. Like I'd say probably top 5 next weekend, in my opinion, at San Francisco. And then I feel like he'll be, he'll start to really be in the mix with everything because it looked like the start didn't really help him getting 11th out of the gate. I mean, he only made 2 spots, and Ken Roczen did catch up to him,
Right.
and Ken stopped in the pits and got his bike fixed. So I feel like he was just kind of riding conservative mode there. Aaron Plessinger, he looks really good on that KTM. I'm hoping that this will be the year that he can, get redemption from that heartbreak where we all saw at Detroit, where he threw it away and everyone at Woodland Motocross Park was just crying. You could hear the uproar echo around the entire track when he crashed. Do you think AP's got something in the bag this year?
That's a really tough one. I like AP, and I've liked him since he was on a Star 250. He's just fun to watch. He's an awesome rider too, but I don't quite think he has what it takes to actually get the win.
Oh, we have an AP doubter.
I would love to see him win. I really would, but I just, the odds of that happening, I don't think so. I really don't think it's going to happen. He'll podium second, third, but I don't think he's going to be able to pull the trigger and get on that top step. I hope and wish he does, but my little conscience over here, who's been watching him for a while, doesn't think it's going to happen.
Well, we will find out. And
right.
If he watches our podcast, he'll hopefully get that, that anger from you.
I hope he does.
Put it on the top step of the box and show you what's up.
I hope if he wears the kit he wore at the Red Bull Straight Rhythm, the whole Alan Jackson one, I think he might be able to get the win.
Yeah, you can put that on. Logan Cardell. Oh my gosh. So during Saturday night, I didn't see his foot at all in the broadcast or anything. Nope. And I'm just all why is the dude just standing there? It didn't look like that hard of a hit. He just rode straight into the tough blocks. And I'm are you gonna go, buddy? And then he posts the video today, and I'm like, oh my God.
His foot's facing the other direction, which is insane.
That's how my ankle was at Riverdale when I broke my ankle. I had fear flashbacks of what I did, and I ran over myself like an idiot. I don't know how you do that, but yeah, even you saw the dude on the KTM,
the way he kind of looked at it, he's like, "Hey, you need to get over here and look at this now."
Yeah, something's not right. So I wish the best for Logan Cardell, and I don't know what his timetable on return will be. I'm assuming he's probably going to be out for at least half the season. So that really blows for his program.
Biggest thing is just going to be getting those tendons and ligaments, all straightened back out, because we can fix a bone pretty easily. So he's going to have to fix that, and that's going to take probably 6-7 months or so.
Probably sooner than that. It took me 8 weeks for the bone to recover, but based on his, like I said, I think Supercross, he might be able to come back by round 12, round 13 if he wants to.
Right.
But maybe we just see, OnlyFans Kawasaki out there for the outdoors to try to make, make his sponsors happy.
Right. It's probably going to have to do something.
What do you think about Jorge Prado? I didn't really have high expectations on him because it's his first ever Supercross race. Based off just rewatching, even before I got on here, every time he got past, he kind of dove to the inside of the corners, and it was a real momentum killer. I think, in my opinion, he will learn from that on hey, I made the pass, but I need to follow the race line there to stay with him, because every time he did that, he lost 2-3 bike lengths.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to learn. Like you said, this is his first Supercross ever. He's just started riding Supercross tracks not too long ago, and he's gonna do pretty well, I think, once he gets a little more experience under his belt. Great starter though, able to get out front with everybody, which proves right there he can ride there. He's just got to learn the technical ness of a Supercross track and not a GP track anymore. I felt bad for him watching the few times they would show him trying to go through the whoops, and all the bad stories I've heard of him, not knowing how to go through the whoops and things like that, because he's never done it. So he was doubling through, and the guys were still skimming the tops, and he'll figure it out. But I think when he comes over next year, I think he'll be a top 5 person though.
Yeah. I mean, he really threw himself into the deep end, skipping the 250 class and going straight to the 450s. So, I mean, with, what was it, 15 top guys, like
Mhm.
almost every single rider besides a few like have won a title before. I
Yep.
mean, the odds were stacked against him.
Yeah, they really were for his first one. And, why not jump all the way in? You're the world champion. See where you lie, and then go back and train harder than you have the next year until you come back in for 25.
Yeah. 250 recap. We're already past our 30 minutes, so we're in our +2 lap phase
Right.
now.
+2.
250 recap. Everything went a little as expected to me, in my
Mhm.
opinion. I mean,
Yep.
Hampshire's always looked good. He kind of took control super early and was super aggressive. Uh, Watching, I thought Beaumer getting past Kitchen there,
Mhm.
the like very beginning of the race, kind of threw Kitchen a little bit off his game for a moment because it looked like he was pretty hesitant there. Like, oh, I wasn't expecting Juju to jump in like that. And then RJ just said, "Get out of my way, rookies. I'm gonna, go
Yep.
right through you guys." And it seemed like to me, Beaumer really kind of held up Levi there for a couple laps, which
Mhm.
caused Smith to catch up and Volan. And then it looked like midway through the moto, Levi kind of just grabbed another gear and kind of got back into his comfort zone to go back into attack position. What do you think about Kitchen's performance there?
I thought it was pretty good. Definitely was hoping for a win. Like I think everybody here in Oregon and Washington were hoping for, and he's perfectly capable of doing that, and he's going to do it at some point this season. But yeah, he with him finding that extra gear to get back. What was it, third? He ended up finally
Yeah.
finishing, but coming back after that and getting past them, I think it's what he needed. He needed that little confidence boost. He knows he can get past them now, and now the next question is, can anybody keep up with RJ? The veteran of the class. The as everybody would like to call him, the old man. Even though it's really not that old, but compared to the 20-year-olds and stuff that are out there.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of the Christian Craig season
Yep.
of RJ Hampshire's now Christian Craig
Yep.
in this type of scenario, like the veteran status versus all the younger riders. Um, I think this is just my opinion too. I think Levi looks a ton better on the Kawasaki versus the Yamaha. I don't know if it's just the way the Kawasaki fits him or what, but I mean, he looked really great out there on that bike.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. He looks good on whatever he rides because he rode Yamaha for a very long time, so I felt like he was always comfortable on that. But I think making the switch to PC and Mitch Payton is definitely where he needed to go. Smaller team. I feel like there's more focus on him for what he needs and what he needs to get a win because they know he's capable of winning. We're not focusing on what Star Yamaha has 11 or 12 riders and PC has 4, I think it is this year, and it's like it just makes more sense. It's like 4 or 5 on PC, but still that's half the amount of Star. So they're going to be able to actually
Right.
give him the attention he needs to accomplish the wins and win championships. And I think that's why he probably looked more comfortable on that Cowie.
Well, I feel like Pro Circuit has really put like Levi as the
Mhm.
title favorite on their team because they
Yep.
have Forkner. Nothing against Forkner. He's been in there for a while, but the
Mhm.
black cloud seems to follow him every single time.
Yep.
And then they got Volan and Haymaker and McAdoo. I just feel
Mhm.
like it's Levi's turn to maybe change the pathway of Pro Circuit the last couple of years. I mean, I
Mhm.
really feel like if Levi keeps it up through the rest of these races, like you never know with RJ. He's kind of a ticking time bomb at times, and he'll get a little too wild, and then that would be
Yep.
the capitalization there. I think I'd say by round 3, if Levi keeps it up with the great starts and
Mhm.
whatnot, we could see him grabbing a win pretty early here.
Yeah, I within the next 2 or 3 for sure he's going to get a win. I'm really hoping it'll be a San Francisco round. We'll just have to wait and see. But I think he's very capable of it, and I think he's going to be the one guy if he can get in front of people quicker. Get up there with RJ off the start. Him and RJ could just run away. I feel together and just battle each other, not get stuck behind all the people.
Yeah. And we didn't get to see the true potential out of Shimoda once again. Usual first round tendencies from him, mistakes, bad start this time in the main. I'm kind of waiting for Shimoda to show us what he'll do on that Honda. I mean, he did finish fourth and he had to charge the whole way, but all that time spent in the middle of the pack, moving up towards the front, looked like he if we had a couple more laps, he might have been able to get Kitchen, but I mean, time ran out, so no one knows on there. But I don't know. Is Shimoda going to be more of the start dependent rider on trying to grab a win?
Honestly, I like Shimoda and all, but I don't really see him actually maybe getting a win in Supercross this year. He's got he's got some really big shoes to fill with Hunter and Jet bumping up, and now he's their star 250 guy because Hamas, he's still very unknown in what he can, do in Supercross. So
and he's coming off a knee injury, Chance Hamas is.
But I think there's just a lot of hype around Joe right now. Not saying that he's a bad rider or anything. He's amazing. He's one of the best there is too. But I don't think with the other guys right now. I think switching to this bike and a new team and trying to fill the big shoes, I think it's going to come up a little bit short. He'll be on the box. He'll get seconds, thirds. He'll be close in there, but I don't think he's going to get a win with Kitchen and RJ and even Juju. I think Juju might pull off a win, just surprisingly.
Yeah, I mean, he's really come on strong.
Yep.
So do you want to go over your picks on fantasy? I don't know if you have that pulled up or not.
For San Francisco or
what happened in Anaheim 1? Who'd you pick and results there? I can go first if you want to look
you
yours
go
up.
First. I think I still have it up. I just got to load it real quick.
Yeah. Well, I got Jet Lawrence correct. I put Jet as first. And then we talked about second overall, Eli Tomac. That's where I picked him. Unfortunately, that really hurt me in the results. Anderson getting second. I put Sexton third. Sexton got third. So I got first and third correct. Roxon for fourth was on my choice, and that didn't happen. Plessinger hurt me on that one. Hunter Lawrence, really, I was already over it with Hunter Lawrence because I put him for fifth, and Dylan Ferrandis looked really good on that Honda, so he made my fantasy picks not accurate at all. And then I put 10th place Malcolm Stewart, and it was actually Ken Roczen getting 10th. I think just with that crash, it really screwed my picks up, besides Tomac just not looking like he was 100% back and ready to go. So hopefully with my round 2 picks, because I just did my picks early, I put Jet Lawrence again for San Francisco. I put Sexton in second, Cooper Webb third. I'm going to try again with Ken Roczen in fourth. Even though Anderson did really good getting second there, I put him in fifth, and wild card 15th place, I put Dean Wilson. How'd your Anaheim 1 picks go?
Not great at all, honestly. Because I always like to do it. I always like to put Ken Roczen first, at A1. That would just be awesome to me. Suzuki guy, been a Ken fan forever.
Yeah.
So I put him first, which, obviously we know how that went, unfortunately. I feel like he could have had the potential to run up there, but unfortunately, no. And then my second one, who was also part of the Ken Roczen incident, Malcolm, I had him in second. Because I was like, you know what? I've heard nothing but amazing things about him all
flying at the test track.
Yep, flying at the test track from the deep. I put Jet in third because I honestly didn't think he was going to win, but he surprised us all. And fourth was, what did I have? I actually had Jason Lawrence in fourth, or not Jason Lawrence, Jason Anderson. That's my bad. He's still on the mind right now. But I had Anderson actually for fourth because I was like, you know what? He's going to come out and he's going to get a top 5 tonight. He's going to do it. And then fifth was Christian Craig. And then wild card was Ferrandis in 10th. So wasn't too off on theirs, but yeah. I feel like everybody else besides my Jason Anderson was way off.
Well, okay. All right. This will be Chris Hoff's bone to pick moment. We'll probably start doing this in the podcast. Nothing against Rocky Mountain, but when you're doing your picks and whatnot, I really wish they would update the roster. There's like a million people in there, and some of them are 250 riders. I don't know if they do that for trickery or what.
Well, some of the 250 guys jump over on the East Coast sometimes, so you know.
Yeah, but there's also riders in there that haven't raced for like 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's time to cut them out of the system because I almost screwed up on my picks. I was trying to put Jason Anderson for 5th, and no, it was a 4th, some other Ken something. And I almost hit submit, and then I looked and I'm like, that's not Ken Roxon, that's Ken like someone else, that like a privateer rider I've never heard of, because I just kind of fat fingered it. So Rocky Mountain, I don't hate you. I just want you to clean it up a little bit in the roster, especially for riders that don't like. Brock Tickle's still listed in there.
Right.
Like Brock Tickle hasn't raced for years. Like X him out of there because he's not coming back. He's already a test rider. That's my bone to pick for the night on episode 1.
Yeah, no, I found I did that. I'm doing the RM fantasy, but then I also saw that Vital started their own fantasy this year. So I jumped on that one too. It's kind of a little more intriguing. You know, you get a budget of $1 million for the week, and you get to pick, you know, your riders based on wages and stuff like that, which I thought was kind of cool. Because picking the top 5 is pretty damn stressful, and sometimes it can really ruin your night. But then if you get, you know, by a budget, you know, fantasy, like some actual football fantasy, I feel like it's a step above that RM now. It's a little more fun to me.
Well, fantasy makes me upset all the time, as you could tell. That's why I put my picks in like on Monday, so I don't like
pay attention,
have to deal with it the rest of the week. So I'm just going guns a-blazing. I'm going to do that every single race because why not?
Right.
It could either work out really well or it could suck. Like I could go all nerd status with looking at qualifying times and everything like I did in the past to be more accurate, but I'd still get like 4,000th position on. I'm never gonna win a prize. Let's be real.
No.
But you never know.
How I am. That's how I am too. Like I used to be so like watching qualifying. Oh, who's got the, you know, oh, he's got 2 positions better than this guy. He's going to beat him tonight. And, you know, 90% of the time my fantasy is wrong, you know.
Yeah.
I just need to stop and just pick on whatever I think is going to be the most fun to watch. Honestly, I think.
Yeah. I don't want it to like make it to where I'm watching and I'm getting frustrated at like Sexton because he's like one position like off of what I picked him as, because I just like enjoying the racing and I just enjoy the battle and whatnot. Final segment of the podcast before we wrap it up. White Flag is now out for our podcast.
It's been a long time.
I was gonna do the segment on this day like years ago, see what aligned up, but we're gonna swap it out. What has been your favorite Anaheim 1 memory out of all the years of racing? Any races like come to mind to you that you're like, that was the ultimate race at Anaheim 1?
It's gotten tougher for me over the years to remember which ones are what.
I can help you. If you name something, I can give you the year.
Like I know like I can never remember specific races anymore, like unless somebody really brings it up and it jogs my memory. But basically any A1 that had like was 2005 and older, when we had, you know, 252 strokes racing on that, you know, Carmichael on the 250, Stewart on his 250 and stuff like that. Those are some of my favorite A1s. And that's just, it reminds me of, you know, being younger and when I was super exciting. I don't really have any specific A1 memories. I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough for me. I don't have a right answer for that one.
Well, we'll jog your memory at some point.
Right.
I know my favorite, you know how I am, especially if you ever came to my office, 2010 battle with Dungey and Stewart. You know, everyone was counting Dungey out, and I've even been listening to the old Pulp MX podcasts and whatnot, which I laugh at, like listening like 14 years later. Everyone's counting Dungey out. So he's like, yeah, Dungey might get like a top 5 or whatnot. And then he comes out guns a-blazing, almost beats Stewart in the opening round. That really was kind of like the moment, like me being younger, you know, I'm just like, dude, like this is the underdog. And that's why Dungey's always been my favorite. So I'm going to go 2010 that battle where Dungey literally led all the way to like about 4 laps to go and even came back.
Mhm.
And then that stall out really messed him up. And we know how the rest of it is. Stewart would go on and win that. And then I think that was actually the last time Stewart won a race in 2010 before he bowed out with injury. And then we know how the 2010 season would go on between Villopoto and Dungey.
Yeah, that's the whole new era started right there.
Yeah, I'd say I mean, they started 4 strokes in 06 and whatnot, but yeah,
Mhm.
that was the kind of change. For me, in opinion, that was
It was
kind of the changing of the guard
yep,
because, like, even though Stewart would come back stronger, and yes, he would, you know, ride the Yamaha in 2011 and then 2012 before swapping over to Suzuki. It was
mhm,
kind of the changing of the guard, like I said, with Filippoto and
yep,
Dungey coming into
stepping
play
up.
now, and then
Yep.
Kennard here and there.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good era though too. That's my probably it's up there with one of my favorites. Watching Villapoto step up and become the guy that everybody was amazed with, and Dungey too. Never been the biggest Dungey fan, but
Yeah, that's all right.
we'll let that slide.
Well, before we wrap it up, we do want to, well, I would like to talk about what's coming up this weekend. I don't know for sure if racing is going to happen with all the snow that's supposedly coming in, but this weekend we have Woodland Motocross Park. We have the vintage racing on Saturday and then regular racing on Sunday. Make sure to stay on social media to make sure that they are going to be running or not. I haven't posted my media signups yet because I don't think it's going to happen. There's a ton of rain coming in, especially just even today. Like there's no clear time for Woodland to kind of be recovered. So just stay on top of that. I know Charlie will probably make the final call soon. And this being on Monday, things could possibly change. But yeah, it's looking like snow is coming into the Pacific Northwest. And then WHR Arena Cross up in Monroe, Washington, also doing stuff there. So I believe those are the two only events. I'm sorry that I'm missing on anything else, but I believe that's all that's going on. NorthwestMotocross.com, they seem to be trying to do scheduling for everything. So you could always check on that. And then I know Tyson Barr at OPMC's posted the entire 2024 schedule minus Albany schedule and a few others because we're still waiting for a couple tracks to release their dates for racing and practices. So just make sure to follow each racetrack in the Northwest so you know what's going on this coming weekend.
Nice, sounds good. Hopefully the snow holds off though. I can't stand that.
Yeah, Snowmageddon coming.
Right.
Um,
Hopefully my area won't get anything. I'm good. I don't want to get stuck inside for a weekend.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you could DoorDash with the sled dogs. I know you got a
That's
cat.
true.
Maybe
That's
you could
true.
strap the cat on something and sled her out
Might
and
be able to
have
make that
the cat
work.
follow you.
I have a couple snow scooters at work. I might be able to bust out.
Yeah. For anyone that wants to follow you on social media, Grayson, what are a couple places they could follow you and see what you're up to date on?
So the most I usually post on is going to be my Instagram. That's going to be gravy _648. That's pretty much where you'll see everything. There's a link in there to my Facebook profile, or when I do get out and actually get to take photos and stuff like that, I post everything on there for everybody to check out, and you can like and follow that. Don't really post on that one as much besides the actual photos, but keep an eye on my Instagram. Always something going on for the most part.
All right. And then to follow me, of course, Gate Drop _pro on Instagram, Gate Drop Productions on Facebook, and GateDropProductions.com. Episode 2, we'll go more through our Supercross opinions and whatnot. We'll also get into what Grayson's been up to. He's got some skateboard stuff going on, so you'll have to stay tuned on what's been going on in Albany or Salem?
I'm in Salem. But
Salem.
I'm
So
only about 15 minutes from the track, so
sweet. We'll get
yeah.
to know more of who Grayson is, and I don't know. Does everyone know me already?
We
Am I
can we can
interesting anymore, Grayson?
we can come up with some questions. We can make some things. Maybe if people want to, DM us a couple random questions, we can throw those in there to get to know you a little deeper.
Right. Well, first podcast went all right. We definitely went 30 plus two. We're almost out of two moto format here.
Right, we almost did a two moto format today. Well, that's all right. First one's out the way. We're learning. We'll figure out how to not talk as fast or talk as long and get that 30-minute mark.
I was thinking 30 minutes was going to be too long, but here we are.
No, I was thinking hour, 45 to an hour, but 30 is perfect for those, those lazy people who don't want to listen to an hour-long conversation.
Yeah, and eventually I'll come up with graphics and maybe I'll be able to put some stuff on the screen. I'm techie and then not techie at the same time.
Yeah, no, I've been trying to do the research for a while on how to do this and make it look all cool, and it's way more than I was even expecting.
Well, I figured out Restream was the easiest to work because I got it on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, and YouTube. So we got one part knocked out of the way, and it looks like it recorded all the way too. So we're good.
That's good. That's good. Hopefully we'll be able to keep going with the success each week and just get better.
All right. Episode 2 will be next Monday at 6:30. We will see you then.
Later, everyone.